Little Fox. Rapunzel, Episode 19, A Ditch. The prince stumbled through the forest for hours. His leg hurt, and one arm was broken.
I will find my way to the palace,
he thought.
Then I will go back to the tower and...
The prince tripped on a tree root. As he fell forward, sharp thorns scratched his face. His head hit a big rock. Then everything went black. The next morning, Rapunzel woke at sunrise.
Oh no! I fell asleep!
She thought. She began looking for the prince again. Suddenly, Prickle flew to her. He flapped his wings and chirped.
Prickle?
Rapunzel said.
Do you want me to follow you?
Prickle took off through the forest. Rapunzel ran after him. At last, Prickle stopped. He chirped loudly near some thorn bushes. Beyond the thorn bushes was a ditch. Rapunzel ran to the ditch and peered down. Someone lay in the mud.
Prince!
Rapunzel cried. There was no answer. She yelled again.
Prince!
At last, she heard a low moan.
Rapunzel.
The prince said weakly.
Yes!
Rapunzel cried.
It's me!
Rapunzel ran into the ditch. She grabbed the prince's hand. He tried to sit up, but he was too weak.
Don't move, Prince.
Rapunzel said.
How did you get out of the tower?
He asked.
I will explain everything later.
Rapunzel said. Rapunzel checked the prince's wounds. He had scratches on his face. There was a large cut on his head. His breathing was weak. Tears streamed from Rapunzel's eyes.
I found you, my darling prince,
she said.
Now I must find a way to save you.
She grabbed her healing potions and gasped. They were almost gone.
Oh no! I used them all on the witch!
Rapunzel, Episode 20, A Beautiful Song. Rapunzel tried to help the prince up. He cried. The prince could not stand.
You must go for help,
he said.
I cannot leave you here.
Rapunzel said.
Oh! Your servant will look for you, right?
The prince nodded weakly. Prickle was still fluttering above the ditch.
Prickle,
she said.
Can you find the prince's servant?
Prickle flew off. Rapunzel's heart sank when Prickle finally returned. Prickle was all alone. Rapunzel began to cry.
Don't cry.
The prince whispered.
Please sing for me one last time.
Suddenly, an idea came to her. Would it work? She reached into her bag for her echo potion. She dripped drops in her mouth and began to sing. Her voice drifted up from the ditch. It echoed through the forest.
Beautiful.
The prince whispered.
Please, don't die.
Rapunzel begged. Suddenly, Rapunzel saw a carriage appear. The prince's servant peered into the ditch.
I followed the song and found you!
He cried.
Hurry! The prince is dying!
Rapunzel cried.
We must get him to a doctor!
Days went by, but the prince did not wake up. Rapunzel stayed by his side at the palace. She sang to him every day. Finally, one morning, his eyes opened.
My prince!
Rapunzel said. He smiled.
My darling Rapunzel.
A few days later, the prince was better. Rapunzel and the prince went to a small farm.
Mama! Papa!
She cried.
Rapunzel!
Mama and Papa shouted. She hugged her parents.
I'm going to marry the prince!
The prince hurried over to meet them.
You must come live with us at the palace!
Rapunzel smiled.
We will all live happily ever after.
And they did.